Hi! Today I'm making a doll for Retro Doll US's Pokémon Swap. My partner I'm making this doll for is Lady Bandicoot Dolls on Instagram. They asked for a Pheromosa doll. Pheromosa is an Ultra Beast from Pokémon Sun and Moon and was pretty easy to translate into doll form since it's already pretty humanoid shaped. For the base doll, I used a Monster High Spectra that I had already prepared. I did a priming layer of sealant on her with Liquitex Matte Medium through an airbrush. I sketched in the basic shapes of her eyes with a light brown pencil, then started blocking in the basic colour of the eyes. Pheromosa has some really cool blue and pink eyes, which made this repaint really fun. Pheromosa also has a small little anime mouth, which I can't really do without modding Spectra's lips, so instead I added a bit of black between the lips to make it look kind of like she's parting her lips a bit. I keep adding details to her face, giving her half-closed eyes to resemble the Pokémon. Sometimes I find eyebrows hard, but they're a lot easier doing them at the same time rather than separately. These ones still probably aren't perfect, but they're good enough. Using soft pastels, I add shading to the face, but I want to keep things light. It would be so easy for me to go overboard and add too much contouring, making it look like the Spectra head is a different colour to the body, which I want to avoid. I want to keep it relatively white still. I also want to keep the lips light and add some gloss to them later. I'm not used to working on pure white dolls, so hopefully this mix of pinks and browns work. I keep adding watercolour pencil detail to the face, making the colours more vivid and going over lines. Here's where I sealed the doll again. I'm primarily a digital artist, so I'm still getting used to how to create certain colour effects with pencils. Like here I added a little bit of yellow to the iris. Details, details, details. Here on my tiny brush I have some dark blue paint that I'm using to add just a little bit more depth to her eyes. I also use some paint to emphasize her pupils and add some shine. I usually go for a small dot or two in the eye for this, but for Pheromosa I wanted to make it a little bit more realistic and also fake the look of more downwards pointing eyelashes than I could draw. I also use white paint to add highlights to the face, then sharpen the lines by scraping some bits away with a toothpick. Just a couple of final touches and the face is done. I want to add some detail to the body of the doll, so I paint on some swirls, dots and other little details to add some interest to her lower limbs. The paint strokes were a little thick and uneven in places, so I used a toothpick to scrape away some excess. Pheromosa is vaguely based on a cockroach, I believe, so it has its limbs looking very segmented. Luckily, this is a doll with articulation and looks pretty segmented already, so I just add some gold details around her joints on the side that is less likely to scratch off. Time for some hair! One of the rules of Retro Dolls swaps is you have to use Retro Dolls hair. I'm using Marilyn hair from the Australian Retro Dolls partner, Custom Doll Hair AU. I bought a big hank because I wanted Pheromosa's hair to be as long as the Pokemon's. I wanted to get an idea of how long to cut it, but didn't want to damage the doll at all, so I just got out a blank Ever After High doll I had in my stock to get an idea. They're about the same height anyway. I cut the hair from the hank in half, then made them into wefts using glue. The hair is so long that rerooting would take a long time, and I'm not the biggest rerooting fan, so I decided to just glue the hair to the head. Unfortunately, I had some trouble getting it to stay. The glue I'm using probably isn't strong enough, so I gave up and decided to make a wig cap. I used some fabric for some tights for the cap, because the fabric is super thin and stretchy. I cover it in a few layers of glue, then cut it into shape and paint it white to match her hair. Now I can glue the wefts on no problem. Well, with a bit of patience waiting for the glue to dry. While that's happening, let's make some shoes. I have some spare Frights Camera Action Draculaura shoes that have a great heel for Pheromosa. I actually forgot to put on a priming layer of sealant on them, but I usually do that. I cover it in a few layers of white paint, and then cut off the ankle bow thing with my scalpel. A bit of neatening up, and I continue to paint them. A few more layers and I start adding some gold details. I started by trying to be neat, but ended up slipping a bit and putting paint everywhere. But I actually kind of like it more this way, so I lent into it. Time for some clothes. I used a piece or two from Requiem Art patterns, combined with some that I made myself. I cut them out in some white fabric. Here's a whole bunch of lace and ribbon and stuff I have. I want to give the clothes some nice embellishments. And here's what I came up with. Some plain white shorts and a top thing. I love the lace and trim I added to it, but something's off. Well, let's put her all together. The shorts and shoes fit and look great. But the top... Her wig is so long. I'm really happy with how it came out. I put a pin in it to help keep it on the head since it's so heavy. The Pokemon has a crown-like feature on its head that ends in some antenna. I think that's just what she needs. I thread some thin wire into this gold trim and mold it into shape, pinning it onto her head. And the doll is done! I ended up ditching her original shirt and making a new one with parts of the original. It can be worn in a few different ways and the fit is much better. I used some lace and wire to make her 2 long antennae and put some gloss on her eyes and lips. I'm really happy with how she turned out. She's gone to her new home with Lady Bandicoot dolls on Instagram, so go check her out. Thanks again to Retro Dolls for hosting this swap. I had a great time. Do you think I did a good job translating the Pokemon into doll form? Thanks for watching!